Finally, an 18th century inkstand which belonged to Prime Minister Sir Robert Walpole has been sold for more than £750,000. The inkstand is just 12 inches long and was made by a Huguenot silversmith in 1729. Today's sale at Christie's in London equalled the record price for a piece of silver. Lovely Christmas present for somebody. From all of us on the news at 5:45, a very good evening to you.
Good evening. 3 men from the southwest have been describing their harrowing experiences in the heart of the Armenian earthquake zone. The men were among volunteers who'd flown out to the scene of the tragedy which killed nearly 50,000 people. Also tonight, the Navy flies home to Cornwall and 500 families celebrate. Blooming again, the Glastonbury thorn, just as it's done for nearly 2,000 Christmases, or so the story goes. And does anyone know this cake? Because Mr. Barnes the baker desperately wants to avert a Christmas crisis. We'll find out about that later on. First, the main news of the day from Gilly Carter.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening. Volunteers from the southwest who've been helping the rescue work in Armenia have been talking to us from Russia about their experiences. One, a Honiton GP, described finding a mother and son seated at their dining table as they had been when the earthquake struck. Both were dead. The team have been working in Spitak at the heart of the earthquake zone. Of a population of 50,000, only about 1,500 survived.
The 3 volunteers from the southwest are part of a team of 14 Britons which flew out to Armenia last Friday. They're part of an American-based organisation, International Rescue, who specialise in giving immediate aid at scenes of natural disaster. Each member has some specialist skill, and all are trained in searching out victims trapped in rubble and in giving immediate medical aid. The team's doctor is Terry Glenville, a Honiton GP. With him are Graham Payne, an ambulanceman from Exbourne near Oakhampton, and Steve Maris, who runs a coffee shop in Minehead. From that unlikely background, he's now fighting to save lives in Spitak, one of the cities worst hit by the earthquake.
Since arriving in Spitak, we've been working non-stop. We've been working sort of 20, 23 hours a day on a search and locate basis, trying to find anybody else that may be alive in the rubble. There wasn't a building that hadn't been touched by the earthquake. Even those that were still standing had sort of severe cracks or were leaning. It was terrible.
We found nobody alive, I'll put that way, but a lot dead, and we were able to give comfort to the grieving the fact that we found them. In one instance, we found a mother and son at the dining table. The son, as they were sitting there, and the earthquake happened. The scene of devastation. I liken it to a Southern bomber raid on a German city which I was in the army.
Well, we had a nice little welcome to the first site we got onto to search. We'd been there 5 minutes and there was a fair old tremor. They were very pleased to see the Union Jack. Very pleased to see the Union Jack. I think we felt a little bit humble actually for the things they offered us. In the way of food, anything we wanted, they would get it for us.
Meanwhile, an Exeter woman has been helping to coordinate relief supplies to help victims of the Armenian earthquake. Ruth Woodward says the people have already donated hundreds of blankets and tents, which will be sent to the disaster zone by the Red Cross. The collection point is a barn at the Whipton County Showground. 500 Cornish families were celebrating today as 2 of the Navy's biggest ships came home to Britain. HMS Illustrious and HMS Ark Royal between them carry 3 helicopter squadrons, and that meant a massive airlift from the carriers anchored off the Cornish coast.
The Royal Naval Air Station at Culdrose is busy at the best of times. Today it was organised bedlam. 820 Sea King helicopters began airlifting freight before dawn. Then 500 men, plus all their equipment, were ferried in from ship to shore. HMS Illustrious has been away for 3.5 months on the other side of the Atlantic, visiting Mayport, Charlestown, Virginia, and Fort Lauderdale in Florida. Ark Royal has been away even longer. She made a round-the-world voyage to the Far East. Today, the wives and children left at home in Cornwall were going through some very emotional reunions. Men from 820, 814 and 849 squadrons were back on terra firma for the first time in months.
Well, it's been 6 months away visiting the Far East and Australia, and during that time we've been able to do all the flying that we needed to do to keep the squadron honed up as an anti-submarine squadron. But of course also we've had some fantastic high spots, particularly the bicentennial Fleet Review in Sydney, which was a most wonderful occasion, and some very good visits to our friends in Singapore and Malaysia, Hong Kong, the Philippines, and various other parts of the Far East and Australia.
Clearly it's a long haul for you and the men. What about the wives at home? Do you have any sympathy for them?
Oh, enormous amount of sympathy. They bear the brunt of the separation, really, because I think when we're away we're kept very busy, and we perhaps don't feel it quite so much as they do.
3 of the wives from 849 had come up with extra Christmas presents. They'd each presented their husbands with new babies. Rhianne Oliver, Samantha Brown and Ben Byatt are the newest recruits to the squadron. Paul, you've just come back, and a new arrival, I see. What do you think of that one?
Oh, she's gorgeous. A lot bigger than last time I saw her. Yeah.
So she's what, 12 weeks old?
12 weeks old, yeah.
Now, have you seen her at all?
Yeah, I came home from Hong Kong to see her born, and went home when she was 2 days old.
It's literally 2 days in 12 weeks.
That's right, yes. Yeah.
Now, Mum, how do you feel about your husband coming back?
It's great. It's nice to have someone at home to help now.
And the Royal Navy flew to the rescue when Santa's sleigh broke down in Plymouth. Christmas hampers were airlifted by helicopter from the flight deck of the carrier HMS Invincible. Crewmen took part in sponsored events to raise hundreds of pounds to buy the hampers. When the sleigh developed a technical fault, Father Christmas was ferried to Plymouth City Airport on board a Navy Sea King. Minutes later, he was at the door of Millie Richards to deliver her festive hamper.
Oh, here's Daddy Christmas!
An inquest has been told a Devon student died after taking a tranquiliser to curb anxiety. 20-year-old Kathleen James had been prescribed Largactil while studying at Aberystwyth University. The inquest heard she died from a respiratory failure linked to the use of the drug. The coroner said Largactil was known to have been linked with other sudden deaths across the country. South West Water has admitted that some of Britain's most popular beaches won't be clean until the year 2000. The authority says 23 beaches in Devon, Dorset and Cornwall fail to meet European standards. The most populated area is off Marazion and Mounts Bay in Cornwall. But South West Water says the dirty beaches are not a health hazard. A union officer sacked from the government's Culmhead radio station in Somerset says he's considering an appeal. Bill Bickham had refused to give up his